Now, we have to put a stop to these problems. We have to get our house in order if we're going to continue to be a great country and a beacon to the world. We can't let ethnic or even family loyalties become such a blinding preoccupation among us that it blinds some Americans to their obligations to America as a whole, dragging the nation into socioeconomic chaos. As Americans, we can't place our personal concerns above the law. As difficult as it may be, we have to keep faith with each other. After all, it's not as if anyone is arguing against legal immigration. So, holistically, let me tell you what I think a proper system looks like and what we need to do. First, let's agree together that sanctuary cities represent breaking faith with each other as Americans, not to mention breaking the law. As Americans, we work to change the laws we disagree with legally, with our votes and our hard work. We don't just say to each other, screw you, and screw the effect it may have on your safety and security, your taxes, your family, and your community. No, we support each other and maintain faith with each other, since essentially we all live in the same house together. So, to stop this practice, the federal government has to withhold government funding and support from any cities that aren't enforcing the immigration laws. And in the meantime, beef up ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, in those cities to do the job where the cities won't. Period. And we as citizens cannot support local, state, and federal politicians who support so-called sanctuary cities. For those who think the deal is all one way today, skewed to favor immigrants, think again. Sure, we're offering access to the American dream. But legal immigrants coming to our country are also pledging their lives to defend us all, as all Americans do. Immigrants have traditionally brought new energy, innovation, and new dreams with them, refreshing the American body with new blood and possibilities. Legal immigration has been a lifeblood to our country and is part of our foundation and our DNA as Americans. This leads me to the next point. So in putting their lives in the balance, this makes it important that every prospective American understand what being an American means. To do this, an immigrant must understand our history and how we got here in order to appreciate the American journey and experience. Because if one doesn't understand and embrace these things in their heart, then how can they truly be prepared to make the level of commitment to America and to their brother and sister Americans, which is so central to our American DNA and our existence as a country? So, we have to require that all those who wish to become citizens have at least a reasonably good understanding of our American history and be tested on it. Only in this way can one truly begin to appreciate what they are becoming part of and making a life and death commitment to, by the way, if called upon to defend their new country as citizens. It's also critical that prospective citizens have a basic command of the English language so that they can have a greater probability of successfully assimilating into our society and succeeding in their occupation, which is what we all want, so that they can provide for themselves economically and contribute their fair share to the economy, the defense, and the running of our government, and not just become a tax burden. Taking the emotion out of the situation, we must also agree on a specific numerical quota of orderly, controlled immigration annually so that we don't overburden our social services, our educational system, and law enforcement infrastructure. This allows us to maintain order and balance while assuring the legal influx of new blood, new ideas, vigor, and vitality into our national melting pot. Now, to my brother and sister Americans who expect that we should welcome uncontrolled immigration, throw open the borders, whatever the cost, well, of course, that makes no sense at all. It's destructive towards the interests of our country and our brother and sister Americans. So I don't think you'll get any major support on that, but you can certainly try. Until then, keep faith with your brother and sister Americans and don't violate the law. We also must establish fairness and consistency in the criteria, standards, and process for granting people citizenship, prioritizing security and extreme humanitarian concerns first, followed by candidates that have the specific training or skill sets needed by strategic U.S. industries in the U.S. Within that, people who are here legally and who have followed the laws of the land in applying for citizenship must be given priority. Now, as to illegal aliens in our prison system for committing serious crimes, these folks need to be sent back to their countries following the serving of their full sentences here, not to return. Those countries also need to bear the full cost of care for the years they were incarcerated here, as well as the full cost of their repatriation to their home countries. Countries that don't agree to do this will be put on a list with other such countries in that category, and the largest violators would have trade tariff surcharges imposed, sufficient to recover our costs. This also will provide them with sufficient incentive for them to control their borders moving forward and to hold their citizens who violate the mutual emigration and immigration laws fully accountable. For those here illegally, who are not in the prison system but who made a conscious decision to violate our laws and their own country's laws, well, these folks need to be carefully screened. Then repatriated back to their own countries, or if they're holding down steady jobs, if they've been paying taxes and have a consistent history of obeying our laws, then provided with a path to citizenship, but putting them at the end of the line behind those who have followed our laws and applied legally. Now, if they are found to have violated our laws or not paid taxes and strained our economy, then again, they have to return home without delay, and they're prohibited from future citizenship consideration. Now, it's been stated that some number of guest workers should be legally allowed to enter the country each year. The case has been made that it's a necessity for our economy. If that's validated, we should proceed with the implementing of a controlled and expeditious process involving the screening and issuance of guest worker ID cards that will provide for the appropriate protections for ourselves and for the guest workers. It must be limited, there must be expiration dates for every guest worker, and a very careful program constructed to monitor and support the process. Now, with a guest worker plan implemented, there is absolutely no excuse for not holding U.S. employers and businesses 100% responsible for upholding our laws and not hiring illegal aliens in the first place. We should then punish U.S. businesses that violate the laws both civilly and criminally to close the loop and seal the system. After all, they have alternatives now under this system. If there are no jobs here that can be worked without a green card or a guest worker card, then there's little reason for people to come here illegally unless you're a terrorist or a criminal. Employers who still want to take the risk and go to jail, well, there's simply no curing stupidity. Lastly, we have to spend the money to do whatever is physically and technologically necessary to efficiently seal and control our borders from criminals and terrorists. These comprehensive steps combined will absolutely get the job done correctly, effectively, and fairly. If we don't address this problem holistically and comprehensively, as I've suggested here, and control our borders, we will expand the chaos and danger that continues growing daily. On the other hand, if we stick together and work as brother and sister Americans of every race, gender, and ethnicity, we can get this done. Again, my name is Patrick Walsh. If you like what you hear, and even if you don't, please take action and subscribe to my YouTube channel now, and you'll be notified of new videos, probably at least 1 or 2 a week. I also have a website being continuously updated. It's patrickfwalsh.com. That's patrickfwalsh.com. You can also find my book there, A Hard Look in the Mirror, Fixing America's Crisis of Character and Our Leadership Crisis. And you'll also be able to sign up for my newsletter, which is slated to begin October 1st. Thank you very much.